Hi, welcome back. I'm Mary Jo, also known as Sojo, and this is my channel where I talk about all my quilty stitchy things. And this is my weekly update, number 78, and it is September 15th, 2024. So, it's been another week. And what I've done this week was I managed to finish a quilt top. I put a binding on another quilt, and I finished a cardigan and worked on a few other things. So now I did a couple questions this week. So I've been doing this Rediscover My Stash series where I've taken a look at all my extra fabric. Well, not my extra fabric, but my stash of fabric, and taking a look at and having you guys comment if you see a particular project or something you would like me to finish rather than later. Now, I will say I got a couple questions doing that, and one of them is, what is my time frame on trying to get some of these projects done? And the simple answer is, I don't have a time frame. I just plan on incorporating the projects that you guys have commented on when I get done with other projects I'm working on. So I work on my quilts in a rotation. I do not work on just one quilt from start to finish and move on to the next. That's just not how I do it. Everybody should do what works for them, and this is just the process that taken me a few years, but this is how it works for me. But when I finish a quilt, I will take a quilt that you guys have commented on and replace it with that, if that makes sense. So how long that takes, I don't know. It just is. And then the other question was, how long does it take me to finish a quilt? Well, if you're talking about a quilt top, I don't know because, like I said, I work things in a rotation. So depending on how many steps and things, it may take longer or may take sooner, just depending on what's going on. Now, I will say I probably average about, I finish a quilt top a week, probably is what I'd say. But I don't really know how long it takes me to do one from start to finish, because I don't do one start to finish and only work on that. I rotate. I think I have like 14 different things that I rotate through. So I don't really have a good answer for that either. Now, it doesn't mean that's the way you should do it. It just means that's what works for me. And I do, like I said, I usually get about a quilt top or more done a week. Now, as far as it from start to finish, well, that's even more complicated because, you know, I've got a lot of quilt tops. And the quilting process is usually what just holds that up, simply because the long arm isn't here. I have to go somewhere else, which is my parents, to use the long arm. And just with the way schedules are set up, it just isn't always practical. I know I haven't been quilting on the long arm as much, like I said, just because trying to get everything coordinated and finding the time to do that, it just hasn't been there lately. So I don't really have good answers for either of those questions. I don't really have a time frame of getting stuff done, and I don't really know how long it takes me to get a quilt done from start to finish. Sorry. Now, why I'm doing this Rediscover My Stash series, because I decided to go on a no-buy for September. So I'm trying not to buy anything for the month of September, just because I have so much fabric already. I am doing good. I have not bought any fabric since September. However, I did obtain some fabric this week, but I didn't pay for it. So I'll do a video on that tomorrow about the fabric I got. Now, let's talk about what I finished. My quilt top. Let's hang it up and take a look at it. And this is the quilt top I finished this week. Now, this was my Leaders and Enders project, or I'd been using as my Leaders and Enders project. And all those squares and triangles came from my Gnome of the Month from Cotton Cuts. When they sent those last year, they always came with extra pieces. So I started using those pieces and just kind of sewing them together and then put them into a quilt top. So we'll go take a closer look at it. Okay, so we're at the top. I did put those little blocks in the corner there. We're just coming down, and that's what I did with all the extra little squares and triangles. And there's the other corner coming into view down there. So, that's what I did with all the extra pieces from the Gnome of the Month from Cotton Cuts. that came out last year. So what else did I do? Well, I got the binding on my summer solstice quilts from Judy Niemeyer, which is an all paper piece pattern, and this is 99 by 99. Now, my fabrics are different than what hers are, but let's take a look at it. Well, let's hang it up and take a look at it. So I have this summer solstice quilts hanging up. Now my husband came down and hung this up for me, and while I was hanging up, he's like, so do you want me to sit down and do the video for him? I told him yes, but he chickened out and went upstairs. But let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see him on a video talking about my quilts. I personally think it would be interesting. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but you know. Okay, so this is the summer solstice quilts. This is a completely paper piece pattern from Judy Niemeyer. Now this is a larger quilt because it is 99 by 99. And we'll go in and take a closer look at everything. So we are up at the corner, and there's the binding I just got done on it this week. Now it is quilted with this sun scallop pantograph, and I chose that since this was supposed to be, or called, summer solstice. I thought the suns was a good thing to put in it. Plus I think the sun shape kind of mimicked some of these little spikes I see right here. And I like it. Kind of going back to the center. And this will definitely be a quilt for me. It's kind of hard to see everything in it. All right, let me flip it over and we'll take a look at the back and the label. And there's a look at my label and backing. There's a better look at the batik backing I put on it. Now this quilt is all batiks. Now I got a fly that managed to find its way in here. So let's see, what else? So last week I forgot to show you my Lori Holt progress, her quilt seeds, her mercantile quilt seeds pattern. There is 6 of them. So far I have done 5 out of the 6. So I only have 1 more left to go. And this was the iron and starch pattern that I finished. Now I am going to take all 6 of these and put them together into a quilt. So the other 4 I managed to get sewn together. And here is where I am so far with that. Those first 2. Whoops. Got those. And then this over here. And then number 5 I showed you, so I just have to sew number 6, put them all together, and then put a border on them. So that's getting closer to being done. And then I worked on 2 other quilt projects. Let me pull those out. Okay, so I worked some more on this Flower Market quilt panel quilt. So I'm still just working on putting some borders around that center panel. I'm not quite there yet, but when I do get there, this gray and my quilt is actually going to be a pink. So I have that pink instead of a gray. When I get there, I'm not quite there yet. But let me show you where I am. As you can see, I'm just adding borders. I just have to sew that top border there, and then I can start adding that pink border around. And that's where I am, just adding more borders and borders. Now I will say in this pattern, these right here were supposed to be mitered. I didn't want to do that, so I did it. But I worked on a little bit more of that. And then the other quilt project I worked on. So I worked more on Meet the Makers. So last week I showed this, and this quilt is comprised of an alternate block and then 4 other blocks, where they have the alternate block. There's 25 different alternate blocks, and there's different colorways in it. And then blocks 1 and 2 have 8 blocks, and blocks 3 and 4 have 4 that you have to make. So I literally had to just finish block 4, which I did, and now I've started to pin them all together in rows, which I've also done. So I'll just show you a row or two, show you where I'm at there. See, this is the first row, and it is only pinned, it is not sewn together. There's my pins. This is where I am. I think this was the block 4s that I was finishing last time. So those are all done. So I have all 7 of those rows pinned together. So next time I take it to the sewing machine, I will sew it together in like a web piecing style, just because that's how I prefer to do my quilt tops. And we'll show you what it looks like then. Okay, let's move on to cross stitch, where I'm working on all of my little mini pillows. Now I am making 2 of these for every month. 1 I'm keeping for me, and 1 I'm giving away. So my winner from January did contact me, but I made a little mistake when I sent it to her. So I sent it to the post office the next day, and then that night I was looking and I'm like, oh, I still have the January pillows. I accidentally sent her February's instead of January's. So to fix my mistake, I sent the January's the next day. This is February's, which I'm still going to give away. It just means I have to make another February for me. It's okay. So I do have a winner for my February pillow, and it is Laura Sup. It's Laura, Laura-Sup. Just contact me, send me an email through my email, which is sewjoquilts@gmail.com. Send me your address and I will send this off to you. Now, in addition to that, I also finished my March pillows and my April pillows. So those are my April pillows. So I'm going to give away one of my Marches. We're just working down through the month, and I kind of like this color theme. So if you're interested in winning one of my March little cross stitch pillows, just comment green down below, the color green, and I will send this out to you if you're the winner. The winner I will announce next week. You do have to be 18 or older, because I will be asking for your address. And sorry, it is for the US only. So that is my March. And Laura Sup, once again, please send me an email at sewjoquilts@gmail.com and I will send that out to you. My email will be listed in the description box below. Okay, so I did that. Made my little mistake, but it's okay. I'll fix it. It's no big deal. Okay, as far as the actual cross stitching. So last week I had shown you that I had finished one of the July 9 patches, because these are what I'm making into pillows. These are from Primrose Cottage. They're 9 patch series. So I had finished one of these last week, and I finished the second one this week. And because of my mistake, I had to go back and make another February. So that's where I am right now. I am just finishing up with February's, and here I am. I just have to fill in some of that pink, and that will be done. So that's where I am in cross stitch. Now crochet. I have been working on this cardigan. This is the Summer Evening Crochet Cardigan from Yarnspiration, which, you know, was a free pattern that I had found from Yarnspiration. This is the cardigan. It is worked in this little variegated yarn. However, I didn't have that. I kind of used two different yarns and made a stripe pattern and then another yarn for the ribbing. Now, I finished it this week. So let me pull it out and I'll show you. It is all done. There is my cardigan. And there's the sleeves. Now, I'm not going to put it on and model it just because, well, I've got these puffy sleeves today. It wouldn't work well over it. So, but here it is. Another cardigan done. I wasn't sure how well I'd like that pink and with the green and the cream color, but I think it works out pretty well. Okay, so I finished that. Only one other thing to show you. Let me get my diamond painting. And there's my diamond painting that I've been working on. There's the picture, Sledding to Town, from Chuck Pinson. And this is where I am. It's getting there. Alright. So that is everything that I've worked on this week. So, once again, Laura SUP, just give me an email to sewjoquilts@gmail.com and I will send that out to you. And also, if you're interested in winning one of my March little pillows, just comment green down in the comments below. Now, you can also use these for pin cushions if you want. I don't use pin cushions, but that is another option. They are just filled with fiberfill. Okay, till next time. Bye.